The Land Rover Defender OCTA is here and is supposed to bring more of everything. A nuclear power plant, more of the off-road capabilities, more of the luxurious, more of everything. Competing with, of course, the Mercedes G63. But Land Rover with the new Defender OCTA is supposed to do luxury, speed, off-road a little bit differently. So in this review, I'm going to review the completely new Land Rover Defender OCTA. And what are the headlines? Well, of course, the main talking point about this Defender OCTA is the engine. The BMW-derived 4.4 liter V8 twin turbocharged, codenamed S68, producing 635 horsepower and 750 Newton meters of torque. It's supposed to slingshot this behemoth from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4 seconds flat. And that is quite a mighty feat because of the weight, because there's a lot of tech to make this off-road capable. We'll talk about that in just a second. And what new things or new design do you find here in the front? Well, the Look at Me gold raised Defender lettering, the more open square grille. This bronze colored plastic flimsy thing, which behind I guess it's the towing hook. Here is the skid plate that goes towards the entire back. And just look at the fender wideners of this Defender OCTA. And I think this gives the biggest clue that this is something special. Because this is wider, much wider, over 80 millimeters wider. And underneath these massive rims, tires and wheels, you're finding, of course, upgraded brakes. 400 millimeter in diameter, of course, upgraded brake pads and everything as well. But behind everything has been upgraded. The steering knuckles, the drive shafts, a lot of things have been changed. So you get even more wheel articulation from 100 millimeter to 500 millimeter, as well as giving you a new wading depth up to 1 meter. So there is a lot of changes. This is not just an ugly badge, because we'll talk about the badge in just a second. This is some major changes. What's the deal with this new Defender OCTA? Well, it received the same treatment as the Sport SV. Humongous engine, the 60 suspension, and this is supposed to do everything. Take your kids to school, go off-road, go on-road, drive long distances, go over that rock, that hill, and do it in extreme comfort. This is such a capable, over-engineered car. But that's the question. Has the over-engineering, together with the reputation of Range Rover, Land Rover, quality and reliability, does it trump the qualities that this Defender OCTA actually represents? We're in the back of this new Defender OCTA, and there is quite a lot to talk about. First of all, the full-size spare wheel, so if you get a puncture or whatever, you can switch it out very easily. You have a rear view camera here, so even though you will not be able to see in the back, you will see with the digital rear view camera. You even see the copper colored towing hooks here in the back, and this completely flat rear. Open the rear tailgate and you jump in, and you are met with a lot of space, and that's thanks to the 110 model, the 90, which this does not come with, or as, gives much less space here in the back, but you have all the necessary buttons to press. This is with air suspension, of course, or hydraulics, so you can lower and raise the ride height to make it easier to get stuff in and out. A lot of dead angles though. This is high up, it's very squarish here, and you do not see out very well when you are driving the car. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I can already say that. And welcome to the rear seats, and I have some lower thigh support, I have a good amount of foot space and an almost flat floor. There is a lot of headroom and a lot of space to the side, so it is an okay-ish area to be here in the back. And what I mean by okay-ish is that it's quite dark in here, but that depends on what fabric and quality and color you choose for your seats and your interior. This is quite dark. There are other options to choose from. You have individual climate control in the back, one for the left and one for the right. USB-C plugs and a huge panoramic sunroof, grab handles everywhere, and even a cup holder on the sides. And on the armrest, you have 2 cup holders here. Some bolstering on the seats, not that much, especially when you drive this a little bit more quickly, which you will see later on. You recognize the interior, the Defender logo here at the passenger seat, the grab handle, the very simplistic design with the bolts on the side here to make it easy to change things that break. There's a lot of plastic, but also quite a lot of nice leather. A mix of both and a mix of buttons and touch. So the infotainment system, the digital gauge cluster, and a quite poorly designed head-up display. It's way too small, but it gives it the necessary information. You have buttons on the steering wheel. The right side is for the cruise control, the left side is to control the layout of the digital gauge cluster. Take some time to get it to your preferred layout. That's something to take into consideration. You do have flappy paddles behind the steering wheel and they are illuminated here. But if you press the OCTA mode or the drive control mode or selector, you go into dynamic program, and if you hold it down, you go into OCTA mode, and that makes the pedals glow red. The gearbox or the gear shift indicator or the gear shift selector, you have reverse, neutral, drive and sport. Of course you have buttons or dials to change the temperature. You have heated and cooled seats. You have the controls for changing the ride height, traction control, everything that you want to control the off-road driving aspect of it. So with the car started, I can show you the infotainment system, and it's not the most advanced, but it does the job fine, as well as giving it the quality, the luxury, the refinement of a more upscale car brand. So it's not the best, not the worst, somewhere in the middle, but it has the information for the off-road driving. So all in all, an okay infotainment system. And we're driving away here. You can hear the rumble of the V8, but this torque converter set of gearbox together with that engine, I've talked about it before in the Sport SV video, they are working in harmony very, very well. It's definitely a refined driving experience. I was afraid, or I thought, that the OCTA would mean more focused, less refinement. That is not the case. If you look at what the regular Defender could do, this new OCTA just broaden the capabilities of the regular Defender. It does everything that the regular Defender can do and then some. So the Defender OCTA is equally good on a highway like I'm doing right now. There's hardly any wind noise. The suspension is eating up everything. The steering is light and heavy, and at the same time it's chunky, it's meaty. You feel that you are controlling a battleship, but it is not unresponsive enough to feel like G-Class. The G-Class feels very, very different, the way it's designed with the classic ladder on frame design. This gives much more confidence and behaves like a regular car would, apart from being gigantic, sitting super high and having those huge tires. This does not feel like a Porsche Cayenne in terms of how stiff it is, how responsive it is, or Aston Martin DBX or Lamborghini Urus for that matter. But it's not designed to behave like one of those performance-oriented SUVs either. This is performance-oriented towards the off-road experience, and that it does fantastically well. This is set up to be softer, soaking up the bumps, giving you feedback, telling you that you can push me. The Octa can be pushed so far and have the softness that I absolutely like in performance off-road SUVs. Unfortunately though, the price of over 200,000 euros, this is close to 220, means that the people that will afford this car will hardly take it off-road. There will be a few percentage of Defender Octas that will be used to even a fraction of its capabilities. You wouldn't be surprised when I'm saying that this car has averaged about 14.9 liters per 100 kilometer, just under 2,000 kilometers. This is a thirsty engine, but a couple of 635 horsepower V8 twin turbocharged engine and a weight of over 2.7 tons. You know what you're getting when you buy this car. So we are in dynamic mode now on a back road, and of course we need to try the Defender Octa even on road to feel how the regular driving dynamics is, because I remember distinctly saying that the regular Defender felt like a normal car, even though it has all the off-road capabilities of an off-road car. Perhaps not as quick at downshifting, turning it in here, plenty of torque, but you have plenty of body roll as well. Feeling the brakes, the the throw is long, maybe not as much confidence, and those all-terrain tires are definitely the limiting factor here. There's also the off-road tires with a lot of thread to it, which of course will not give you the most amount of feedback when you're driving on road. They're meant for off-road driving, but of course you can turn it in, and the limiting factor here is the tires. Braking hard here, turning it in, downshifting. You have a lot of grunt low down at around 3000 RPMs, and the higher you rev it out, the quicker or faster you are going, right? But don't buy this because it is the most amazing on-road, quick, responsive driving experience. There are other cars for that. But what this does amazingly is blending those two together seamlessly. The off-road and the on-road. Turning it in here, and you feel the understeer directly. These tires are the limiting factor in terms of driving this car on road. So if you want to drive this on road all the time, I would go for some more normal tires, maybe not these all terrains. And of course there are the off-road tires as well. The Octa mode is basically dedicated off-road driving, softer suspension, different setup of the four-wheel drive system, sending more power to the rear to rotate that heavy car with a long wheelbase. It's a long car and you do feel it. You have a lot of stability in terms of that, but the weight and the height of the car does affect the driving experience slightly. And you do feel it when you're driving over some undulated roads here, turning it in, feeling the understeer, the car heeling over a little bit. I mean, you are using a fraction of the power available on these more tight roads, and you feel there's such a capable monster off-road. And I would just... So what does that make of the new Land Rover Defender Octa? Well, it is expensive, it is brash, it is thirsty, but it's also fantastically awesome. It can do it all. The luxury side, the performance side, the brutish side. It's a fantastic car that is in somewhere in nowhere's land or no man's land. The only real competitor is the Mercedes G63. And this does that competition very differently. It's a different flavor towards luxury and off-road capabilities. I absolutely loved it, but of course the Land Rover reliability, the concerns, it's a luxury car, the depreciation, there's a lot to consider, but if you can afford it and if you're considering something like the Defender OCTA, give it a real shot.